Yeah.
Boom, hey. We are live.
I need to make an actual intro.
Yeah, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get that at some
music.
Point. So, yeah, like real deal intro. So, hey everybody, welcome to Into the Nexus.
Welcome to Sunday night.
Bi-monthly or bi-weekly
yeah.
Live stream with a couple of our friends. We've got others joining a little bit later on tonight as well. But to kick it off, I'm Anthony from AntLab Games.
I'm Francis.
And we have two of our regulars. Actually, Mike's become regular. So go ahead, Mike. Let's hear about
Lily.
You.
Oh, hi, Lily. Hello, everybody. I just saw Lily. That made me happy. Yeah, so I'm Mike, Board Games for One, mainly focus on solo gaming YouTube channel.
All right, and Mr. Gary.
I'm a breath of fresh air, and here to bring something fresh for everyone tonight. So we'll see how that goes, right? So, no, it's great to be here. It's
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love how you're embracing that.
I know.
Name.
You do. You got to embrace it. You know, somebody meme it. You know, I need to be a meme.
I know.
So
it was like it just came one day, and it was like that's perfect.
It just fits so well.
Yeah.
Right.
So today we're covering a fitting topic that we have, Mr. Mike here. I know Gary does a lot of it as well, and it's really my grassroots.
It is.
If we turn back time, years and years. Probably almost a decade now.
It's been a long time.
The years are getting on. But yeah, so solo gaming, right? And I think it's I think we have a lot of fans and followers who still, are heavily into solo gaming. They long for the days of my solo content.
They do. People do they're like, well, you need to bring in the solo content.
They want it back.
They don't understand that I have major board game FOMO.
Yeah, she's put the kibosh on that, so unfortunately it's not gonna happen.
Well, that's not true. We'll see.
But to give everybody a little bit of background into why this topic sort of came up, and it was between Francis and I when we were actually playing and filming a game we covered just this past week.
Yeah.
Which was
City
of the Great Machine.
Yeah.
Now that game in its original form is a one versus many. So it's like one player versus three.
Yeah, like one player plays the big bad city.
The city, yeah.
And the rest of the players are trying to, thwart its efforts.
Exactly. So there's sort of a deduction component of it. They call it hidden movement. It's not really hidden movement. It's more like programming.
It's very much, I even call it programming.
Yeah, and deduction to that programming, right? So, but what that ended up doing is we played the solo / cooperative mode, and it has an AI. Like any other AI, and it's a deck of cards. It does certain things that you have to sort of manage each round, right, as you go. And as we were playing it, we started to have a disagreement on what makes up, a good AI. What makes
it was actually like while we were playing, after we were done playing, after we were done doing our review piece, and then the next day in the car, we have been talking about this for a while. So we're like, you know what, this should be our topic. Yeah. For this week, because we got into some really good discussion about what makes a good AI, because you're like, well, this is what makes a good AI and this is why people like it. And I'm like, well, no, I don't think all solo players like that kind of AI. Maybe they like a different kind of AI or a different goal for their solo play. Right. So we're like, all right, let's stop this conversation right now and we'll talk about it on Sunday. But I think I want to, before we get into that, if it's okay, because I know Allie is jumping on in a little bit.
Right. So we don't
maybe we tease you with that little bit and go into some news first.
Yes. So, well, to recap, when we talk about solo gaming, we're going to be talking about different types of draws to the solo gaming, different types of solo gamers, and the automas / AIs and what each of our preferences are. So I think we all have a lot of experience with them, and I'm sure we all have different tastes and what type of an experience you want to have out of your solo gaming. Now, and like you said, Allie's is a solo gamer too. So we definitely don't want to get into this before she comes. She's going to be a little bit late, but she'll be here. So with that said, we'll talk about Origins.
Yeah, we can talk about Origins. Well, we're not going to talk about Origins.
We're going to listen.
Man on the street.
Mike was the man on the ground. He was at Origins. We'd love to hear your experience. Tell us all about it. What was Origins like this year, Mike?
Well, and I will say, I think this was your first time to Origins too, right?
So I went to, I really wish I had a reporter voice. Hey, it's Allie. Hello, Allie.
Hey, everybody.
So this is my first year to Origins. So the only reference I had to past ones was asking the publishers at the different booths. So Matthew with NV Board and Games, he was nice. He let me volunteer with his booth. So
nice.
That was my way in. I got the little nice little NV Board and Games badge. So that was cool. I got to spend some time with him. From what I heard from the other publishers, there were some good sales and things. It was a little slower this year than in the past, but that was, I didn't ask that on like Saturday. Saturday it was more packed, but people weren't buying as much. I assume today people probably did, but it was totally full. It wasn't like crammed to where it was uncomfortable, but the whole place, every one of the event rooms and all the event space is fantastic. Actually, I enjoyed PAX Unplugged. Between PAX Unplugged and Origins, I'll probably do Origins next year. If I can only do one.
Yeah.
But I'm from Columbus, Ohio, so maybe that has.
That's kind of our draw to PAX too. Is that we're close. So
I think when you have familiarity with the area, it makes a huge difference. So it's there's a lot less stress. But yeah, so I guess go around briefly just some of the games that popped out to me. Now, of course, I went in trying kind of with some pressure to try to focus on just things that offer solo modes. And I gave up on that because basically if a publisher was nice and they like started showing me their games, then I'm gonna take a look at it. I'm gonna try to play it. So not everything here is solo. But I did at Arcane Wonders, they had 2 solo games that stood out to me. One of them is called Mother of Frankenstein, and it has a volume 1, 2, and 3 separate games you have to buy. It is like a 1 to 6 player. And it's basically, it looks kind of like a Sherlock Holmes consulting detective style detective game that you work co-op. So of course you can do it solo, but it had to do with the literary themes of Mary Shelley and Frankenstein and all of that. And being a literature major and all that really interested me. So I'll want to look at that. They said they were doing review copies Sunday, but it wasn't, I decided it wasn't worth it for me to drive an hour and a half to go back out of the way that way to maybe possibly pick one up later when I can get it from my local game store. So I just didn't do that. And another one was Mortem, which is a detective game. This is still Arcane Wonders. 1 to some number of players. I don't know how many. This actually had figurines, so it looks like you're moving about on a map. 19th century England, still detective solving, but it's not Cthulhu themed. Yay! Just give me a 19th century style game that doesn't go into Cthulhu, please. So that thrilled me to no end. I'm very excited to see what on earth Mortem is. All I could do was look at the boxes. They did not have these out for display or demo. So exciting if you like the detective stuff. Just a few more. There were plenty of indie games that were pretty cool. There's one coming up on Kickstarter soon called Cretaceous Rails. It's like a worker placement where you're doing tourist time traveling back to the Cretaceous period. It's like Ticket to Ride combined with worker placement is kind of the vibe I got. You're putting dinosaurs and tourists, and you're also doing you have a tableau that you're building off to the side in order to build up your tourist industry going around looking at dinosaurs. So that was kind of cool. And they also had something they will be sending to me, a solo game. Cretaceous Rails has a solo mode. So far everything does. For Glory is gladiatorial combat. Doesn't interest me generally. But this was like unmatched, but just with the cards where you're 2 gladiators going against each other, AI style. It actually caught my interest. Basic, if you've ever played Unmatched, similar to that. But hopefully find out a little more on that pretty soon. There were quite a few husband and wife teams that had simpler entry-level party games that kind of branched off of Jeopardy themes and things like that. There was one called Connected Clues. We learned it in a couple minutes. It's basically based on the before and after of a Jeopardy style game where you get a card and you have to give clues to connect 2 sentences. I won't go too deep into those. The Skyrim collection was there. I don't know anything about it, but I guess that delivered. So that looked like that was Skyrim. They still had plenty of copies left.
I think
which
coming
one?
Out now.
It was everything. So
was it the Skyrim the adventure game?
Again,
or was it the Skyrim by Chip Theory? Because there's 2,
no,
right? I don't
not
know
the Chip Theory. Chip Theory didn't
the
have
first
that
one you
in
talked
there.
about there.
All right, so then it's the one by...
There were 10 boxes.
Mophidius, yes, by Mophidius. That's the one that...
Yes, that's...
That one, they had that at PAX.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
That's
not new. Okay. Well, anyway, that was there. There's a new non-game thing. Voxlink is something that's that was kind of an interesting booth. Basically, it's like the guy's starting up. He's trying to start up some kind of like a social network type of thing, specifically for board gaming, to help patch some of the keep some of the benefits, patch some of the flaws that come from like Facebook groups and Discord and all that stuff. Mainly for local game stores with to help with their gaming communities and RPGs and trading card games and things like that. There's of course, you know Matthew, so I got to check out his 3 small box games.
Oh, nice.
Sirens, Mind Your Business, 16 Candies. Those will be coming to Kickstarter, but Sirens stood out because it has an app. Sirens is a game where you can play it solo, and you are creating a melody for a siren based on cards that you play, and then you actually plug that into, and you just hold your app over the cards. It scans the notes, and it plays the melody. Now, I don't know how that works with scoring and all that, but it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And
we're going to be covering Sirens.
Okay, cool. And I should be doing the how to play for that, so we'll all be focusing on that. Mind Your Business, Fulfilled was sent out, so he was selling that at the convention as well. That's NV Born Games, and that's where you had the little mine cart going around on your grid of square cards. I think you guys already featured that.
We did.
And Victorum. So I went to Chip Theory Games booth because I have never played a Chip Theory game. And no, like nothing personal. It's just they're big games. They're involved. I know if I get too many bones, it doesn't appeal to me, but like I'm going to go down the rabbit hole, right?
Right. So,
and it's not a cheap rabbit hole.
Exactly. And so it's kind of like you go down that if you're committed to it. So I knew very little. So I stayed for a full demo of Hoplomachus Victorum. So this is not the old Hoplomachus. This is the new one. And it's described as a love letter to solo play. So I'm like, well, I need to know about this. And it does look really cool. Like I figured out why their name is Chip Theory. This is how much I don't know. I was like, oh, all your games have... And I've got my like board games for one year. It was very embarrassing. And I was like, oh, your games have poker chips. And he was like, Chip Theory games.
You caught on.
Get it. Okay. So that was super cool.
I know who's not getting a sword.
Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Yes. Skyrim. Skyrim was the game there. But anyway, so Victorum is gladiatorial combat, but this is quite complex. So you have like one large board. It's made for quick setup. It was like a 1, 2, 3 minute setup, but there's a lot there where you have a whole world map of different continents where you are traveling from one location to another in the ancient Greece time period. And as you get to different locations, you enter into different types of gladiatorial combat. So then you zoom into a bigger map, which is in the center. And there's like double-sided, what do we call the maps that aren't cardboard? What's that material?
A neoprene?
There you go. Yeah. Neoprene. That's why you're here. So neoprene double-sided that you flip over for, it could be Atlantis, could be Greece, whatever. You lay out your battleground. You start your battleground just like Too Many Bones, all their chip games. You have your figure on top of the chips with the health. You try to knock each other out in an arena. Okay. And if you succeed, then you gain. There's a lot of things that you gain. It takes place over 3, not necessarily generations, 3 different ages. Again, there was a lot going on in this game. Like a Chip Theory meets as much of a Lacerda as you can get. So then over there, you've got your different ages and generations. It's made to be played in like a couple hour sessions. And I don't remember how many of those sessions you go through. So that was pretty cool. I'm not into gladiator stuff, but that's 2 gladiator games that I would be more than willing to try.
I used to own Hoplomachus, by the way, the original.
That was a bag builder, right?
No, it was a chip area tactical chip game with gladiators.
For some reason, I thought that was a bag builder.
And it was it was almost like scenario driven. You had to like fight your way up the ranks, but it was really just a tactical combat game. Each character had like different act like abilities and skills, but it's very tactical. So it was a good for solo. It's almost built for solo, but after a couple of games, I'm like, I'm not going to play this anymore for what it was, for what it cost. You know what I mean?
But,
this is interesting.
So I guess this one's supposed to be. This is solo only,
right?
And there was a neat thing, like there's like if you played as an Atlantean, you had this trident, you could throw the trident and attack, but then the enemy could actually move in and take the trident and use the trident. So there were some neat mechanics there. And you are globe trotting, so there is some semi-campaign element to it. It's not a full campaign at all, definitely semi-campaign, which a lot of games seem to be going more toward that, where you can add the campaign but break off with no problem.
Sounds like they turned Hoplomachus into too many bones, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
it was too many bones. It was totally too many bones with a little bit of like Euro puzzle.
Sounds like too many games, like too many bones.
So you will be good for that. There is one. Okay, so this is almost done there. There were plenty of others, but there was this thing called Paco Saco. I thank you,
what is it called?
For making it Taco Saco. Taco Saco, also called Peace Chess. I don't know if some people play chess. Okay, I have to play chess. But this was pretty cool. So this guy created this thing where your chess pieces are split in two. So you start out with, half a pawn, and they have half a pawn on the other side, half of a bishop. What it is when you capture a piece, instead of them getting knocked off the board, they link. So let's say you take a bishop and you claim a pawn. Well, the bishop now links with the pawn. So you still have a bishop and they still have a pawn. And you're moving the same piece.
Oh, wow. So you might move a bishop but the other person now has to move the pawn as a pawn.
Yeah, the goal is still checkmate for the king. But you get there in different ways, and it adds a chain reaction. So it gets pretty board gamey. So let's say that your bishop linked to the pawn goes over and takes out a rook linked to another rook, right? Well, you can do that, which splits up the rook. So you can take your bishop, link it to the rook, or just move that rook to a legal empty space. If you take that rook and then take over another piece, you can have a 13 move chain, and you can take the game on that.
Because you have a butterfly effect of like trying to work out these pieces.
Yeah. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
How do they link?
I gotta say something about that.
Are they magnetized or they?
No, they just kind of click.
Oh, okay.
They stick together.
Okay.
Maybe they were magnetized because it was pretty easy. Maybe it wasn't. Because I get very distracted. I get very distracted.
If they link,
and I'm just consumed by the magic of it.
So if they link and you still take it, then it goes off the board.
No,
it always stays.
Nothing ever leaves the board. That's why he called it Peace Chess, because his kid felt bad, like eliminating pieces. He wanted it to be more cooperative, and so the dad actually made this cooperative still chess game.
That's cool.
I liked it because it's like a waltz. It looks like a waltz because the pieces spiral. The way they link are in these spirals. Right. So you're just like spiraling around the board. I loved it.
That's cool. That's really neat.
Yeah. But as far as there were plenty of others, I actually checked out the anime booth for the first time, and I decided I really need to try some of these like manga games because I've never done it, and they looked cool. I played Ramen, little 2-player. You're like making little ramen soup bowls. It was fun. So I like that. There were plenty of others, but do not use up any more time. I did spend a lot of time outside. Actually, the publishers hall, the expo hall, I was in for enough time to get video and meet different people. I met some cool. It was fun. I mean, some people actually recognized the ridiculous shirt, and I was like, "Hey, that's cool." But that was fun. But most of my time was spent either playing games or in other rooms, going to different events. I played a lot of Blood on the Clock Tower.
Okay.
So it was fun.
I heard way too much about that.
Actually, a magic show. One of my viewers, he said he was doing a magic show, and I should go on stage for it. So I got to go to his, and he's like a mentalist guy.
That's cool.
So if you ever see Nerd Magic, that was actually pretty cool. And what's his name? Rodney Smith was in there, so it was neat.
That's cool. What was your experience with Blood on the Clock Tower? Because we have been like lined up to play that, so we've been hearing a lot about it.
Well, you have to like social deduction. To me, is the king. That is the king of social deduction. So I played 5 games.
Wow.
But you'll know from your first game. It's not that if you don't like it, I'm sorry. It's not that it's a bad game. It's a brilliant game.
Yeah.
It is social deduction they nailed it. It is so the game is so complex, and there is so little luck involved in this that if you love deduction, it's just a detective game. So your first game's a little boring because your first game is introducing mechanics. So it's like taking your first round in a board game. But if you're not like, that wasn't amazing, of course not. The people that play this, it's like chess. There were people there, they played hundreds of games. Okay. This is something you commit yourself to.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So my second game, though, I dove into the deep end, and it was amazing because the possibility of the villains was like, well, there's possibly 4 villains. We're on the good team, and there's 7 of us. There's 3 people that are on the bad team. We don't know who they are, but we also don't know what they are. So the villain might be one of 4 possibilities. One of them could be everything that is told to the good side is a lie. The other one is maybe most of the things told are true, and they pick 2 people every time that it's a lie. So we ended up with the one where the villain was the one that flipped the truth on everything. And we were able to deduce it because we could track what happened every single night, because you talk during the day, then you go to sleep, actions and things happen overnight that you may or may not know about. You get information, you wake up again in the day, you talk to people lie, people tell the truth. But if you put enough things together, we can be like, look, we know between what the storyteller's doing and all of this, every single thing we've been told is a lie, which means the 180 is the truth. So we retraced everything. You go back 5 days. If you like that, you're going to be
that's cool.
in love. If you don't like it, you're going to be miserable.
What would you say is like the lowest player count you can get away with?
We went down to 9 players. I didn't do below that.
Okay.
Because they've got
that's the thing about getting a group.
Yeah, exactly. No, this isn't a small group game. I think the lowest that I could imagine would be 7, but I haven't done that.
Yeah.
This is something you do. You set it up at your board game store or whatever.
Yeah.
You have an event night. This is not like just have do not have your friends and family over and play Blood on the Clock Tower.
Okay.
I might be wrong there. That's the impression I get, is this is for people that love social deduction, and this is the king. There is nothing.
Okay. That's cool.
Right. It's good to know.
But I hate the theme. I hate the theme. Why do you have to make it like demons and all this stuff? Like, just make it 19th century. It's fine.
Yeah. Just keep it. It's dark enough.
I know. Anyway. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Very cool. Thanks. That's a
very
great
good.
Update,
Origins
man. We used to do Origins.
Yeah.
2 years in a row we did it, and then PAX came out and we never looked back. Just because it's a proximity thing. I think
same for me. I get to stay with family. Yeah. It makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah. And I think for us it was like so we would drive out there, and it was about a 6 to 8 hour drive for us, I think, to Columbus, which isn't bad. But we would get out there, and then we would do the convention hall. Yeah. And like you said, it's kind of like you kind of see what's there. You talk to some people, and then you kind of just want to play games.
Yeah.
And for us, it was like, well, we could be home in 6 hours if we leave now, and we could just play tonight.
Yeah.
So that's what we would do. And so it ended up being like not as worth it, especially once PAX came out.
Yeah.
So
and it was never really a big game release con.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'd buy like the 2 or 3 games that we were waiting for.
Yeah.
Maybe pick up a few others, and then we'd be like, all right, let's go home and play. That's it. Because otherwise you're fighting for a table in the convention hall, and it's like,
it's loud. And,
it's like, all right.
It's more
and there's little, like you said, there's little there. I didn't buy a single game. There's nothing there that I can't get at my game store for
exactly.
Cheaper,
right.
Way cheaper.
Yeah.
So so that was that. Yeah. But there was there was one other thing that was pretty cool. What was it? I have no idea. Never mind. Move on.
All right. Were you gonna ask a question, Gary?
No, I was just gonna say it's always been kind of a con where publishers, designers, I mean, they're gonna go there, but I've never been there where there's like been a big release, because you got Gen Con like 6 weeks later.
I know, 4 weeks later.
So, it's more of like they all just kind of come to play their own games. You know, it's like how they do like a BGG con or a Dice Tower.
Yeah,
con
if you go there to play games, which is what I went for, it was a blast. I absolutely loved it.
It's very
and that's why you should go to this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a bad con. I think but PAX has become that for us. That's become our origins. And it's just unless they go if they're masked this year, we're probably not going to go.
There were no masks.
Yeah, I know. Origins was that one. I saw the pictures. They were, and I was like, I hope they all follow suit.
I said you have to check out the other PAX events, I think, for the benchmark, because PAX never updates any other information for Unplugged until way late in the summer. Like, you don't even know the dates until way late. So, you know, I don't think they update anything.
That's going to be the deal breaker for us, because we went last year with the masks on, and I'm like, this is not. I'm not going to do it. I just can't sit there that long with the thing on. It's like
pretty silly.
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous, right? So, cool. Well, Allie, welcome.
Yes.
Hey.
We intentionally put off talking about the solo stuff because we wanted to make sure you were here for that.
Yes.
So you wanna say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody.
You didn't do your introduction.
Yeah, I'm Allie from the Family Meeple, and I have a YouTube channel and primarily an Instagram and Facebook page where I share a lot of family games, gateway introductory games that you can play with friends, family, everybody, and then solo gaming as well.
Sweet.
Awesome. Yes.
All right. So are we all ready to jump into the topic at hand?
Yes. Let's reintroduce the topic at hand for those that maybe have jumped on the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. So just to recap for those of you who joined a little bit later, we are going to be talking about solo gaming, and not just solo gaming as it stands, but solo gaming, the automas involved that make up great solo games, what each of us sort of looks for in an automa, looks for in an AI. Are you looking for that puzzle, or are you looking for that sort of interactive, lifelike AI? Are you looking for that laundry list of tasks you need to go down to make the AI do all those crazy things?
Yeah.
You know, what is the best type of opponent when playing solo? Right? So that's number one. And this all came out, as we talked about earlier. Won't go into too much detail. But when we played City of the Great Machine, and we both had a disagreement on the experience that the AI provided.
Right, because what's happening basically, like City of the Great Machine is one where like you have an AI that does a bunch of stuff. So you've got 3 different people that you're managing, and my thing was like, oh, it's like doing all the AI stuff, but you have to do it 3 times because you got to figure out what each person does, and you got to wait for them to do their thing. And like, I just want to take my turn, and you're waiting for the other people on our side to do their things. And I'm just like, I just want to take my turn and go.
And I'm like, but as a solo gamer, that's part of the experience.
And he's like, well, that's why you hate solo gaming, because you don't like doing AI stuff. And I'm like, not true, because no, I don't like managing an AI when I have to go through and like make the AI do all the things, because I want to spend time focusing on I'm trying to do my puzzle. I don't care what they I like flip a card, tell me how he's going to mess me up, and let me keep playing. You know what I mean? And then as far as like what I'm looking for in the experience, like I prefer a solo game that's more like a beat your own score, you know, but, and this is where the interesting part of our conversation comes in, that I think we'll talk about kind of when we all get it out, you know, about what it is we like about solo, is that my preferred multiplayer experience typically has less interaction as well. So I'm more interested in like almost like a multiplayer solo where we're all building stuff and then we compare at the end, because I don't like having, you know, I'm doing stuff and then some deck of cards comes in and screws me up.
It's like I said people were referring to Revive as a multiplayer solitaire game. And I said, we haven't played it yet, but that's probably right up your alley because you
exactly what it is.
You want that. And I agree in that front, is I enjoy the multiplayer solitaire experience when it comes to Euros, because you know, everybody complains, oh, there's not a lot of player interaction. I'm like, well, that's kind of, I consider that a plus, because I like you do, to build my own little thing and not be bothered by you. Right. And I don't want to be stopped from doing things. I do like when there's like, I benefit from your actions, you benefit from my actions, you bump each other out of spaces and you get benefits from that. But usually when it's in a beneficial way, not in sort of a negative way where I'm penalized for, oh no, I can't take that action because you took it and you sniped it from me. I hate that, right? So that's where I kind of I appreciate the solo, the competitive solo experience. So, but I think we'll go around and get everybody a shot. So why don't you kick it off, Allie, and just tell us about what is your favorite type of solo gaming experience that you look for, and how does that relate to the type of, is that directly related to the type of sort of automa that you're dealing with?
Yeah, so I play quite a bit of solo, and I play a wide range of solo games, anything from a really simple beat your own score, like I played earlier today, Grove and For Northwood, which are tiny little boxes, and like Grove is just a beat your own score. For Northwood is kind of a beat your own score too. It has thresholds, and there's a max score that you can get, so you can literally say, if I don't get everything, then I would consider it a loss. All the way up to like the Gallerist, I've played solo. All of my Alexander Pfister games, all of my Vladimir Suchy games, I play all of those solo as well. So like I said, it's a wide range, and it tends to depend on what I'm in the mood for or what I have time for. But generally speaking, if I have, any amount of time that I want and I can sit down and concentrate on whatever I want to, I'm going to be reaching for those heavier, like midway Euro games. And my preference is normally to have a card deck driven AI system where you have another player who is going to score at the end of the game, and you win if you beat the AI. I love when there's multiple like difficulty levels in the AI mode, and so you can kind of bump it up or bump it down as you go. So like Glenmore 2 is a good example. Boone Lake I've been playing quite a bit. That's a good example. It doesn't have cards. It has like tiles, but it works in a similar way that you're flipping over a tile and it tells you do this thing, and then that's the AI's turn. So usually with those, the AI will play with a slightly different like version of the rules. So they kind of break some of the rules, but then they'll follow other ones, and it just simplifies so that you don't actually have to make a decision for them most of the time. Or if the decision, it's something simple. So like in Boone Lake, for example, you flip over a tile and it'll tell you to, for example, like place one of the little settlements out onto the board. And so in order to know where you're going to place the settlement, it gives you some like very general indicators, but most of the time it's just saying pick a location based on the icon that's on the next tile that you're going to flip, which corner it's in.
Okay, yeah.
And then it'll give you a number, and then it'll say whichever one's closest to this. And so you just go through the map, and it's on the AI backside of the player board. So it's really simple to run. So that's a nice one. Like I said, Glenmore 2 is one that I really like. It's another card flip action one. And so it basically tells you which tile they're going to take. And then depending on the type of tile that they're taking out of the rondelle, then they'll either get some resources, or they'll place markers on the clan board, or I think they'll like gain whiskey barrels. And then that's about it. Like that's all they do. But at the end, it's nice because you're always competing with them on all of the same categories that you would if you were playing multiplayer. And so you can kind of pay attention just like you would in a multiplayer game of where are they at versus where am I at? Is it worth me trying to catch up, or should I go in a different direction? So that's my preference really, is AI card driven are my favorite. So you have an objective score to beat for the AI player, and then something that's very simple. And like you said, Francis, I generally like games that have a single AI player to play against. The exception to that rule is Euphoria, and it has 2 separate AI players in that game, so that it feels like a 3-player game instead of a 2-player game, and things kind of move faster and open up more. But that one, the AI actions are so simple and straightforward that you literally are just flipping over a card, and the card will tell you, here's what you do with the black AI, here's what you do with the white AI, and then they're done. So they're all together, and it's following the same rules.
Nice, yeah.
I find that they make you play against 2 AIs, and the game plays better at 3.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's typically the thing.
Yeah.
So you don't like an AI. You want an AI that actually scores so that you have to beat their score. You don't like an AI that just blocks you out of stuff.
I mean, it's my preference. Like, I'll play really any number of things. Like in the Gallerist, the AI is literally just moving around the board and it's dropping those like helper minions behind it. So you're constantly bumping it out and you're like speeding up the clock. And so there's not like the AI isn't actually scoring at the end. It's just blocking you, and then it's blocking you off in like whatever that like auction area is on the left-hand side.
Right.
But with the Gallerist, the solo is a specific set of goals. So it says you have to have this much money at the end, and you have to have completed these specific like contracts.
Right.
And so it gives you a very clear focus on like either you win or you lose. And so even if there's no AI scoring against me, I want, generally speaking, a very clear you win or you lose condition. So even in some games, if it's like it basically is a beat your own score, like the Magnificent is just, you have to score 200 points, which is, I think, impossible.
Okay.
Right. But that's the goal. You have to get 200 points. And all of the like Vladimir Suchi games in my collection are pretty much all meet a specific score. In Underwater Cities, it has goals plus a score. So it's that same thing with the Gallerist, where it's like you have to make 100 points, but you also have to have 7 connected cities on your map.
Like that. Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting. So 200 points in the Magnificent.
That's a lot.
Yeah. They should have just had you.
I've played two-handed on the Magnificent, and I scored over 200 with one
of
mine. And that was just base game. And I'm not exactly sure what the difference is. And I've found this in a lot of games where I think they set these solo scores based on like decent multiplayer scores.
Maybe.
Oh,
but there's something that changes between the solo and the multiplayer. And I can't put my finger on it with the Magnificent. But I've usually got between like 150 and like 180 with the base game. I have gotten over 200 with the expansion, the snow expansion. And in that one, it doesn't say you're supposed to increase the score to win. So I just said it was 200. So like my personal is I say 180 if you're playing base only. And then if you're adding the expansion, 200. And then I consider that a win. But with those ones, because they just put a score in there.
Right.
And you're the one who's playing. Nobody else is going to come to your house and say, you didn't actually get 200 points. So that's not a win. I can't believe you logged that as a win. Right.
Yeah.
So if it's beat your own score, then you pick a score that's challenging to you and then see if you can do better next time.
You do. Yeah.
I challenge you to play that game in low lighting. That is like a dark ketone game.
Dark game.
I think we bought that. We bought that at a con, and it was very bright. Well, it wasn't very bright, but the room was bright when we played it. And then when we got it home, it was like, ooh.
Yeah, like, man, this is like.
Oh yeah, it's very cool though. It's
you can use a
cool.
facelift.
It's a really good game.
Yeah, it definitely could.
Oh no,
but it was a fun game.
Yeah, it's
I love
a
it.
game.
I love the way it looks.
It's unique.
I don't want it changed at all.
It's unique for sure. Before we jump into the next person, let's look and see if there's any comments. We'll jump in the.
Somebody had a comment, sort of agreeing with what I was saying, not agreeing with me, but.
Oh, we'll go back. We haven't done any yet.
A lot of
go back to the top.
Gary.
Yeah. So
ban that person.
I know.
So there's some new games. There's some chat about new games this week. So it looks like Distilled was played this week. Gary's got one that he's hiding.
Yeah, which we'll talk about later, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you. We always close with what games you've played, right?
Yeah,
so we'll
right.
We'll get to that. Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, so we are talking about solo here. Town 66. Is there such a game? I've never heard of Town 66.
I don't know.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. Castles of Burgundy, the card game. We actually own that.
We do. Yeah.
If any of y'all played that.
It's a lot of cards.
Actually, it is, but it's pretty good, for what it is, right?
I like the dice game.
Like they've done really well with those different versions. Raiders of Scythia. Has anyone played that one? That one's that's like the Hadrian's Wall, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Art style. Yes. It's basically Raiders of the North Sea with the expansion, from what I understand.
Okay. Yep. So I haven't played that
2 minutes
one
to midnight
at all. 2 minutes to midnight. Where's that?
Andrew.
That's Manhattan Project, right?
Is it?
I think it's an expansion
you've
to
piqued
that.
Anthony's interest.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, Fantastic Factories,
So
Leadbretter. That's a great game. Yeah,
so good. And the solo is really hard, but super easy to run. Like you roll some
Yeah,
dice,
that's the one.
and then it either produces goods, which are points, or it doesn't.
Yeah.
So it starts
Oh.
adding these buildings, and if you roll the same number of buildings in that color or more, then it adds goods and gets points.
Oh,
So you want to
okay.
finish as fast as possible before it starts collecting all the goods.
Okay.
All right, so City of the Great Machine is like what I don't get about AI, i.e., don't get why certain automas are so complicated that you're literally playing two-handed. Defeats the purpose of having
This was actually the core of the argument that we
was her
or
argument.
the discussion that we
I
had, which I
personally-
get, but yes.
I didn't find it challenging at
He's
all.
like, no, that's what I love
Yeah, I
about
like it
AIs. That's
it's-
a good AI.
here's
It's
the
one
AI.
that you
It's
have
like,
to bookkeep and
you
manage.
flip the card, here's the dude, here's where he's going,
Yeah.
which direction to move, and here's the 4 things he's going to do in order, and he'll only do one of them, so you go down the list until he can do one. Done. There's no thought. I don't have to sit
But then
there
he
and
has
go,
to do the action too.
but
so
that
he's
action's
gotta do
pretty
that.
straightforward. If you want to talk about
Yeah.
a really tough AI, manage a Turchi AI.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh
And-
yeah.
That's where you're
David
like,
Turchi
you
did
need
the
to,
AI for La Granja, the deluxe one that's coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
Okay,
supposed
it'll
to
be
get that one soon, so that'll be my first.
it'll be a
Turchi
2 or
solo.
3 page card order
that's
that
gonna
you're
be
going
your
to have
first
to
one.
do. It's going to be
Yeah.
it's going to be a
Am I
decision
wrong? But
tree.
he's Kanban EV and Escape Plan, right?
That was
did he do the solo? I don't
Or is that
know.
different?
Those were Lacerdas, but I don't
Imperium?
know if he might have
I
done
think he did
Oh.
Weather Machine.
Yeah,
Did he?
I'm pretty
think
sure
so.
he
I
think
was
he
the
did
solo.
Weather
I could be
Machine.
wrong. Is that? But he did like Imperium Classics Legends. Am I
What'd you say,
thinking right?
Lisboa?
He did.
we have it right behind us. He did like
Wombo did
that
Lisboa.
World War II card game.
Oh, okay.
You know which one I'm talking about, where you have your dudes on the board. They just did like Battle Over Britain or whatever. They did an airplane version of it.
Memoir
But the,
44?
No, it's not the memoir one. It's the it's a hand management game. And you have
Undaunted?
your Undaunted.
Oh
yes.
yeah, Turchi. Yeah.
He did the AI for that, and I bought that because I'm like, I want to play this solo, and it's
Mhm.
like, whoa, you have to make such decisions, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
like, which of the units is closest to this?
Yeah, it is Turchi. So Kanban
Yeah.
EV, Escape
It is
Plan, that's all
Kanban?
Turchi. And
Okay.
that turned me off of heavy gaming for like 6 months. I'm just now recovering.
Oh, really?
She's still recovering for that.
He's
People
recovering.
love it. People love it.
Yeah, some are
People
good,
love it.
some are just like
Whew.
they're. I don't like having to make those decisions on the fly.
I don't like having
right?
Oh,
AI
right.
players. I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's
Yeah.
it can be really tough. All right, so
If the
let's
game is
see.
really heavy and then the AI is also really complicated.
That's my thing is I want to focus on
don't
like
know.
my plan, and I don't want to have to think for a
It's-
non-existent individual also playing with me.
I'm a Hex Encounter wargamer. Interesting example. Like on your back shelf, coin,
yeah.
fire in the lake.
Yep.
Yes, FYI,
But he
I was
hasn't
a
played.
I have not played yet. I need to get my doctorate first before I can actually be qualified to play that game. There's like multiple rules. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh, it's heavy. I was a playtester for Coin Falling Sky. How about solo play with coin games? And it's AI bot cards. They're complicated, I think. From what I've read. Now, this is just me reading the rule book. It seemed like there was a lot going on. So I have to really, I'm dipping my toe in that.
Yeah.
And I will report back on that. Gary, have you played any of those?
Just very like light ones, like the Worthington game, Archies War that I showed off about a couple weeks ago. But that's a lighter one, you know. But I know with those bigger war games, and whoever just did that comment probably say more on it. But I know some of those they're so rule intensive, right? So
Yeah.
you're
Right.
thinking about your own move with all the rules. So I don't know how those AIs go. I'm sure they're having to follow somewhat the same rules. So that's a lot. You have to sit down and really be devoted to something like that. But
That's what we were kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like I think the only Turtsi we were talking about Turtsi, the only Turtsi big AI that I played was Tekenu, which I liked. But that's a solo. I had to keep referring to the book. Okay, do this, do that. Okay, now I can play my turn. You know, so mean, once you get it down, like anything, you can roll, but some of those are just
Now is Dawn of the Zeds considered a coin game made by GMT? It's that zombie game where they're like coming into tracks and you're basically it's got like, you know, when you roll the dice and you have to look on your chart of outcomes and it has like all these different outcomes.
Sounds cool.
I don't know if it's considered a coin game. I do have it. I did like it, but because it's a really good solo game. Like and the AI has like all of its separate rules. The only other one I played from GMT was one called Silent Hunters, which is a World War II submarine game.
Submarine, yeah.
Right,
is that good?
That's it's really good. Yeah, but you gotta. There's no like board, right?
Right.
You're basically a German sub going out, and your goal is to get tonnage, right, of British ships. So
freight.
Yeah, so you roll the dice and you look down. It's all charts, man. So you roll the dice and it's like, all right, I spotted this type of ship. Here's the profile, and you got to identify what kind it is, and then you got to, you shoot your torpedoes and you do your solutions and all that. It's really good, and then you're trying to get out unscathed, right? So,
gotcha.
But it's not like your typical coin where there's a map, because there's no map. You're basically just, and you got to decide, like, you know what? All right, we're heading back. We're done, because you kind of like press your luck and try to get as much tonnage as you can before you head back. Really cool game.
Are those kinds of games? Are you taking actions? Or are you basically doing the same thing every time?
No, you're deciding how you want to progress in that encounter, because you're going to roll the dice and you're going to see, okay, there's a ship,
right?
All right, are there escort ships? They could have destroyer escorts. Now all of a sudden it's on, because then do I take the shot or do I leave? Because all of a sudden if they're going to come after you, and it's like this whole cat and mouse thing, which
sounds good.
I'm sure you would like it, Gare.
I would love that. I'm totally into subs.
Yeah, there's two of them.
And come back up.
I was going to say,
you want the ones that return. It's a rough topic for this week, but there's a Pacific version of it too that covers that theater, the Pacific Theater in World War II.
Yeah.
I forget the name.
I know there's like a Run Silent, Run Deep or something like that, but I think that might be more European too. But there's a few of them out there. There's a few.
A couple, yes, they're pretty cool. I'd say if you can get your hands on one, I'd say go for it. Yeah. So let's see, going down. I don't know if I've seen any more. Dwellings of Eldervale, right? So I don't know if any of you played Dwellings yet.
Oh yeah.
Mark has been selling this to me for a long time. I can't wait to try it, and I heard about it too.
We own it.
Yeah,
we own it.
It's a good one.
We've really played it, and she was like really unsure at first, I guess.
Yeah.
Just because of the presence of the board. It looks very fantasy themed, you know what I mean? Because it is fantasy themed.
Yeah, not that I like fantasy.
Right.
It wasn't really that.
I guess maybe because it was what? It was like...
Because it's like kind of cartoony, and I was like, anthropomorphic animals is kind of a weird thing for me.
But what it has...
freaks you out.
It is. It's like just a little... It's like... I don't know.
And for whatever reason, you were just turned off by it, and I had just heard such great things about it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just try it. And you would, at two players, you do have I wouldn't call it an AI, but there is like a bad guy, a couple of bad guys, like monsters on the board you got to deal with, but they're not really that bad.
No.
But it's a Euro.
It's so good.
But it was really good.
Very relaxing.
Yeah. And
it's a really good experience.
It's asymmetric, right? Because every race you play is different.
Yeah.
And every player board is a different race, but every player board has two sides, and on each side is a different race with different abilities.
Yeah,
so
it's very cool.
It's really well done.
I could see that being a really good solo experience too.
Yeah.
And the AIs were difficult.
And I think the designer also did that that game we like, the Manhattan Project Power. It's that Manhattan
Energy Empire.
Luke Laurie, I think he's the one who designed it.
Oh yeah, Luke Laurie did that game.
Energy Empire, that's the one.
Yeah. Didn't I just say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're clearly a fan of his designs. Yes. Now there's a sci-fi version of Dwellings coming out.
Prometheus, right?
No. It's called like Andromeda's Edge or something like that.
Yeah, Andromeda's Edge.
Yes.
Andromeda's Edge. Yeah.
It looks so
which is a retheming.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's a different publisher, but it's
right. Well, that's why
it's very it's in the same vein, which is right up my alley. So
cool.
Very cool. Yeah, we really like that
comment there.
Here's a bunch here.
Another Raiders of Scythia.
Yeah, Raiders of Scythia. Heat, Pedal to the Metal. Planet Toy.
See, Heat is another one. We haven't played it on the channel yet. We will, but that was another one. We had the same discussion about it because I'm like, I don't want to do all these other cars. I was like, let's just race against each other. I don't want to deal with all these other cars. But it is easy. It is. I don't know if I'm just like a lazy gamer. I'm just like, I just want to go.
Well, just let Anthony run the cars.
He does. He does. It's like, okay, this car goes here, and this car goes here. I
run the AIs, and she still complains that it's too much work.
I'm just like, come on. Well, because as you're planning your turn, you also have to like think about where all these other stupid cars going to go.
You do have to keep that in mind, which I appreciate, because otherwise it's just me and you racing, and it's
is true, and it does help.
I'm going to draft you this round, now next round.
You need the cars, like you need to do it. You need to do it.
That would be pretty bad.
But it was kind of like, I mean, it's good because then you end up with your car like in front or whatever. But there's like, you have to do all the other rules, and you're like, all right, well, this guy doesn't get to do an extra move, but he can go 5 extra spaces, and this guy, you know what I mean? So
it's a little bit of braininess.
I'm just glad he manages it, because I would play none of those games.
Yeah, so that's a good one too. All right, let's get back to it. All right. So I guess let's see. How about you, Gary? You're a soloist.
Well, kinda. I mean, the pandemic kind of had to put a lot of us into playing solos, but the solos that I enjoy, kind of like what Allie said, I don't like a lot. If I'm going to sit down and play a solo, which I don't do a whole lot, but I've done a handful now in the last couple of years, is the ones that I like are definitely the card-driven ones. Because usually there's going to be multiple things on there. It's already going to kind of do some of the thinking for you to take all that, where you have to look back, like they do this, or do this. It just kind of takes all that out of there. And my favorite ones that do that are Maracaibo.
Okay.
Which, by the way, Fister just does really good AIs. I assume, I think he does his own. I'm not sure. I have to go back and check. Grand Austria Hotel, they did a great solo with that. That's another really, really good one. But one thing going off a little bit, I like solos that almost like teach you how to play the game, right? So Maracaibo is a perfect example of this. Because when Maracaibo is always in my top 3 of all time. I mean, I love that game. And when it first came out, we're playing it, and I assume you've all played Maracaibo or familiar with it, and everybody wants to move one island at a time and get all the stuff, right?
Not me.
Well, that's the thing, because until I played the solo, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. He actually made it's a subtle race game, right?
It is very much a race game, yeah.
You play with that AI, oh, wow, I need to learn how to play this fast. So I played it solo, and then I ended up a couple of years ago, I play it with some people, and I'm like, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm playing the game, let's go.
Yeah, and you end up...
It's like 4 or 5 turns around. I'm done. They're all back there,
That's right. Dude, she hits every island along the way.
So right. Pissed because I'm like, stop pushing the game.
Yeah, and I'm like, as far as I can push that boat, man.
So you want to play that game with completists, because that's all they want to do. So I'm just zipping through and getting to the end there because I want those bonuses at the end. But I love Maracaibo for that. I think it's really easy. It's just flip a card, do its thing, whatever. Same with Grand Austria Hotel. Another one I actually also did like, and I know Allie's gonna like this one. I like to take credit and that I've turned a lot of people onto this game, even some people I know in the chat, and that's Obsession. So Obsession.
Oh yes.
Obsession. That AI is a card. And you roll a dice, you do what the card says, and that's a turn, and you're right back into your turn again.
It's so good.
It's so good, and it's so. And that AI is, you're trying to beat a certain score, and there's a stack of cards with big scores or low scores, depending kind of where your skill level is at that game at the moment. But it'll do different things in terms of your kind of table building. So you're not always playing the same strategy every single time. But it goes fast. That game is so good. Even if you hate the theme, it's such a good game. Those are another one. Arc Nova did a great job. That's another game that teaches you really how to play that game, right? Because you play Arc Nova with people like, okay, we're just gonna go slow here.
And everybody's going to fart around.
Basically, and Arc Nova is like, no, let's go. You got so many. I think it's 16 turns. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. Maybe a few more than that, but it's not a lot of turns. And so you gotta, that first time you play that solo, or the second time, like, man, I'm really terrible at this game. But once you get the hang of it, like, okay, now I see, because it really makes you think about the strategies and the cards that are come out, because you're not going to see them all. But yeah, that's kind of like my solo experience. That's kind of where I'm at with solo games. I don't like to do a whole lot of bookkeeping. Just tell me what they're going to do, and I can go because I want to go with my game. Because another thing is, I don't really want to spend 2 hours playing a solo game. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to play, Tears of the Kingdom. So, if I'm going to sit down, I'm going to play some for 2 hours. But I'm going to go grind.
Yeah. Are you getting into the coin games now, like more the old war type games? Is that your thing?
Yeah, I would like to. Like I just got that Archies War one. But there are a couple that I have on my radar. So I'm looking at those. I'll go to the what is the GMT site? P500 or whatever it is.
The P500, yeah.
The P500 site, which is really kind of cool how they kind of do all that. And I've been looking through some of those. Like there's this massive game coming out. What's the name of it? It's this guy. It's about to release. It's actually not that expensive, but basically you are the president, right?
Mr. President.
Mr. President. Yeah, the American presidency 2001 to 2020. The board is enormous, right? There's all these things you got to make decisions on. And I was watching a couple of videos of these guys play, like, you know what? That looks really, really cool. And it's just a solo experience.
Of you as the president. You're just president of the United States.
As the president, yes.
No,
that's not terrifying at all.
Yeah.
To destroy all the 3-letter agencies, right? So, that's my first decision I'm going to do. But yeah, that actually looked pretty cool. But I don't know if that's technically a coin game, but it's kind of in that GMT world or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to. I would probably rather, if I'm going to play one of those, I'd rather play with somebody else. It's a war game. I don't want to fight myself. I do enough of that daily, so I'll play with somebody else. But yeah.
Nice.
Oh, very cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dangerous slope to go down, because like in our game store, I'll go to basically I call it the GMT section. But
it's right.
Because they keep everything together, right? So the whole back wall, and this is a big game store.
Yeah.
It's just GMT titles, and they're just like, there must be
well over 100 boxes too.
Yeah. And I'm just like, where do you begin with this?
But you know what? You stand there and I look at all of them. I'm like, that looks kind of cool.
It's like every historical battle.
Yeah.
It's every historical battle since the beginning of time. I'm like,
Erwin Rommel for a day, the Desert Fox.
But it's like, but then you look at the components, and they're the driest components you'll ever see. They're the smallest little square cardboard chits, and you're just like, wow.
Sir, where are the minis? Are the minis?
Yeah. No, there's no. It's like so bland, man. It's like, and when you do dice rolls in these games, I'm not kidding. It's like a grid of outcomes.
Right.
You have to you have to go down the graph. It's like spreadsheets, man. It's like crazy.
Just tell me,
but it's like that. It's that detailed though. Like that's the level they go to. So if you're like a fanatic with like factual war and statistic type stuff, like that's right up your alley.
Yeah.
So
some notes. I think people were asking about Grand Austria Hotel. By the way, the solo mode is in the Let's Waltz expansion.
Yes,
right,
it's in the Let's Waltz.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have that, they're online. You can. I think they're in the BGG files. You could get them there, but yeah.
Yeah, because it's based on a fan made mode, so you can still download and print.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
Right. And it's really good. And that game's so good.
Yeah, we have to break that out soon. That's on our list. So here we go. 10 Penny Parks. We've played that. We liked it.
Yeah,
Did not solo it. I don't know if any of y'all played 10 Penny.
Yeah,
I have not played 10 Penny.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm waiting for the Grand Carnival to arrive. So
there was a comment about. Oh yeah. There was a comment about Gaia Project and Furnace, which is
Furnace is down a little bit. Yeah, we'll get to that one. So Gaia Project, we played it. Did not solo it, but that's a good game.
It's a really good game. Yeah.
It's like Terra Nova, right?
No,
not Terra Nova. Terra Mystica.
Yeah.
Terra Nova is the lighter version of Terra Mystica. Is that it?
Like sci-fi version
of it.
I think
so.
It's basically the same game.
No, there's another.
No, there's a light.
I think it is called Terra Nova.
There's a light version of Terra Mystica.
it's like a kid's
I think it is called
family version.
Yeah, I think it is called Terra Nova.
No,
it does. It is. You're right. That was a recent game.
Yep, very recent. So let's see here. We've got most rolling rights, solo well, super skill pinball.
Yeah, super skill pinball.
Yeah.
For that, I guess it's a
Quicks. Welcome to long shot. Yeah, a lot of rolling rights, flipping rights.
Yeah,
right. Well, because those are typically going to be your with the exception of like drafting dice that maybe another player wants to take or something. A lot of those are like multiplayer solo anyway.
Yeah,
so.
pretty much.
Yeah.
You're
just
right,
pull up Anthony's grid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've played Welcome to. That's like my most played game, but I don't play it solo.
Huh.
Oh, interesting.
I pretty much, if I want to play it, I go on Board Game Arena, and there's usually somebody available for real time, and so I just play it real time. Because I don't want to get it out and like set it up just to play it solo when I can go on and play it in like 15 minutes online.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Maybe with some of these bigger games as games get bigger or the ones that make more money, it'd be cool if like Maracaibo, just make an app of the solo. Just hit the button. All right, boom. You don't have to. It's less.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I don't mind those at all.
I do Euphoria with an app.
Oh, so they have an app for that one. Okay.
It's on one's on GitHub. It's like GitHub /my automa, and it's just this guy who basically takes the automa like modes and the cards and ports it into this website, and so you can just say flip card, and then it tells you what to do, and it tells you to pick either a small, like the lowest dice or the highest dice. It's really nice. And
that's cool.
He has it for Wingspan also, and several other ones.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Anyone play Great Western Trail Argentina?
I've played the second edition of Great Western Trail, and it does the same thing that Maracaibo does, where the AI really, really pushes you to go around that rondel. Because like the first time I played it, the first time I played it with my mom, and it took us like 3 hours to play the game.
And
it was our first game, but like we were both just going to like everything, and then I started playing it with the AI, and I was like, oh, okay, I gotta hurry up and keep up, because if you don't, you're not gonna do well.
Yeah. Oh, you won't finish. That's like when we played Islebound the first time. It was like a 3-hour game.
Oh my gosh!
Because I think you have to
nobody was building
buildings,
anything.
And it's
you have to build 5 buildings. That's it.
And if you don't build any buildings, it just goes on and on. I'm like, is this game ever going to end?
No, it's like an hour for solo, but it was 3 hours for us to play. And granted, it was like one of the heaviest games that my mom's played, and so I was having to help her through her turns to make sure we weren't making mistakes, and we still made several mistakes. But it was like I'd help her play her turn, and then I'd have to look and see, okay, what am I going to do on my turn? So it was slower just from that too. But yeah, we were moving really slow.
Wow. Danny Cha, Soul Obsession. That's a brutal move.
Brutal.
Heartbreaker. But you can still play it online.
Yeah, it's on Board Game Arena. They changed some rules on Board Game Arena. Like they've added some variants on there because they saw people playing it differently online than what he saw people playing it in real life. Like people would go in and snipe all of the like the specific servants, like I think the housemaids or whatever those purple ones are. They'd go in early and snipe them, and then you wouldn't have any for the other players. And so you went in and put
you just have to get that room where you can steal them back, right?
You can always steal them back, but I think there's an option where you can play where you can't steal, which
really?
It's not going to work with that. If somebody goes in and snipes them, you can't steal. It's like a friendly mode.
Wow. Yeah. That's bad to do.
You got to be able to hire them away.
Furnace doesn't have a solo mode, but you can use a second die to do the opposite actions that you use in a 2-player game. Roll it on. So it's like a house ruled or.
I've heard that's a cool game.
It is.
It is a really cool game.
Good,
we don't own it, but
really good.
Like I don't know why. I guess because we have a lot of other stuff to play.
Ken Albert.
It was fun though.
Get off my
I'm actually. I saw and you brought. That's funny you brought up that game, Gary, because I saw a picture of that earlier today, and I'm like, I was immediately like, ooh, what is this?
Yeah,
Mr. I was like, a game about being the president. Like that looks pretty cool.
I even
they had like all of it laid out.
That's neat.
One day.
I might have to snipe that if I can find a copy.
And you know what? I actually think you could still buy it on the website, and it may be only like $60 or something.
Oh, really?
Like it is cheap. Yeah.
I'll have to take a look. Just looking to see if there's any more games brought up before we jump into the next.
Yeah.
Based on Francis's comments, we should hold our breath for our Miss Thea solo playthrough.
Probably shouldn't hold your breath for a lot.
Probably not. And the Miss Thea solo we have is a prototype. So
yeah, exactly.
If we get the full version of it, I may have her do that, and I won't be part of that. I'll let her do it. Spirit Island is definitely something you could solo. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Right.
For those of you who've played it.
I just checked. It's $99. That's still pretty good, though. You saw it. It's huge. It takes up like a whole table.
It is big, yeah. Mage Knight is great solo, but very mathy.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's the question you always get. If you say you play solo games, people always ask if you've played Mage Knight.
Mage Knight is the
I get
solo
that all
game.
the time. Yeah, and I've never played it.
It's absolute.
Really?
You'll learn to love it when you play it. Just for the mechanics. It's just such a puzzle. It's such a good puzzle. Got destroyed by a Trajan solo app online once. Either that or I'm bad at Trajans. So here's one that everyone swears by this one, Dune Imperium.
Yeah.
I've played Dune Imperium. It's one of my most played solo games. I actually just recently culled it. I traded it for Wayfarers of the South Tigris.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's a good solo. And yeah, it has 2 automas, but it has that app from
It does. I don't even know
Direwolf.
if we still own it.
And it works so well.
I called it as well, but it was good.
It's definitely not in our games we kept around here, so.
Yeah. I'd play it anytime. The theme didn't do it for me. And
my
husband won't play it with me, so I was like, I don't need to keep it.
This is a comment about Ikayon. So that is all the same guys who made Miss Thea.
Yeah.
Which they put out 2 solo expansions for those games at the same time.
Yeah.
Both very neat games.
Yep. Very cool.
Tough because the iconography in those games. They're made by a foreign publisher, so they tend to go heavy iconography.
Yes. It's like learning a different language.
Because it's one of those where you need that card on the side that tells you what they all mean, because they don't make sense when you look at them.
Yeah. It's like language independent, but only because you're learning another language to like learn it. So.
Tough. Too Many Bones. Do you guys have any of you on here played Too Many Bones?
Yes, Gary, I have.
Yes, I see 2 no's.
Yeah,
it's just
Allie has 0 interest in that.
No, well, I'm sure I don't even really know much about it.
That you're talking about. I mean, those games are just lifestyle games. So you have to get to know your character.
Yep.
It's like a sheet front and back.
Right.
And it's.
I have it.
Uh-huh.
I have it, and I bought it with upgrades, and I bought it with I have the upgrade chips, so they're real nice. So I'm gonna get premium when I sell it. I think I got two or three expansion characters too, so it's a full kit.
We've brought it out a few times to play again, and it's just like every time we sit down, we're like, we just don't have enough time to commit to like learning this game. It's a lot.
Honestly, it's a dice game, so it's swingy, right? Mm-hmm. Like we've literally had games where the first round of the game we get killed. Yeah. Right. In 5 minutes, the game's over, and I'm just like, I don't even want to reset this. Honestly, I think that's actually what
happened the last time we played.
I'm just gonna put it away.
It just never came back.
And one of the things that frustrates me, I appreciate it though. Like the cards they made are like hard plastic. They're like plastic cards.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And when they stack, because they're so hard, they slide off. So the whole pile just like it doesn't stay. You grab one card and the whole pile just falls. And I'm like, oh man, I can't with this.
Yeah,
can't.
That was a weird little decision they made on that. I remember the same thing.
Card tray, yes. Mm-hmm. So it's just really odd.
Mm-hmm. We should get to Mike too.
Before it gets too late. We're getting late here. So all right, go ahead, Mike. Jump in.
All right, I'll try to keep mine pretty quick. I did break it, so I broke down into basically 5 types of AI, and honestly, I just alternate. I burn out on one and like another. Right now, it's beat your own score. But so I was thinking beat your own score. I actually thought of Obsession. To me, that's a beat your own score, even though it's beating the AI's score of 55 or whatever. The next time you're trying to beat 65, it's still beat your own score. You roll a dice, something gets in your way. It's simple. I love that, and it should be noted too. The way I play games, so like how you mentioned, Gary, how you don't want to sit down for like 2 hours and play solo. I never play a game like in one sitting. All right. So I set up a game. I drink my coffee in the morning. I play a few moves. I come in at night and I chill out and I cool down. I play a few moves. It might take me several days to a week to play through a whole game. So that's something to keep in mind when you think about how I play. I put a game on the table and I devour it very slowly. And it stays on the table for a long time until I've like gone through every in and out of it.
I think a lot of people solo like that.
Yeah, I would be miserable playing. The only time I could play like 2 hours, I mean, to me, that sounds like torment. I don't have that attention span. I'm sorry. Unless it's something like a detective game or a story and I need to know what's going to happen next, I'll be up till 3 in the morning. So
it's like being in a good book.
Exactly. Those will get me. But otherwise, that's why I like solo, is I like having my coffee in the morning, taking my 4 turns with Rococo, and I enjoy my day. So beat your own score is currently possibly my favorite one when it's done well. And I thought of Honey Buzz with that too. To me, that's also a beat your own score type of game. Then there's your AI decks, which I'm very partial to. I like how Stonemeyer put the effort into that whole automa system. It's a little complicated, like Wingspan Asia gets a little more complex, but I respect it. You flip the card, you do what it says. If I want an actual like opponent gaining points, I think they did a very good job with that. Rococo, I thought, did an awesome job. It is hard to beat that AI. It is hard.
It was awesome.
Oh man, that's probably my go-to of that style of the AI card you flip over. And it's nice because it still allows for some measure of randomness, just a teeny little bit, but it's still a smart AI. Right now, I'm not so into those because I'm very busy this summer and my brain is melting. Love it. I respect Scythe so much for actually doing an area placement AI. I have not seen another game pull that off where you don't have to think for the AI on where to place them. Right now I'm playing Star Wars Imperial Assault, and there are several moments where you have to think of the best movement for the enemy, and I don't like it. I like the game. I do not like that. So
are you using the app for that?
I am, but it doesn't make that decision for you like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
that's a different type.
Yeah.
So that kind of AI right now, I love it, but it's not my favorite at the moment because it's not relaxing, and I'm looking for relaxing.
Yeah.
And the quick other 3, I was thinking priority cards. So Julian Pombo did Pampero recently, and he did the AI for Lisboa. Some of Lacerda. He works very closely with Lacerda. He's like his right-hand guy. I played the Pampero solo AI. I have not played the finished version, but it's a priority card unless he changed it of if-then statements, just one card, right?
Oh, okay.
You do that. If that does not exist, you go and do that. Now that takes away almost all the randomness. It's very intelligent, but it is a little heavier to learn. Once you learn it, you're cool, but you're not thinking for them, but you have to learn how it thinks. So that's another one. If I want heavy and very intelligent, little randomness, I like that priority card idea. There's Solar Titans is Kickstarter that just fulfilled, but I got to do a play of at least the demo copy or whatever of it, prototype. And that has a simpler version of that. So we may see that in a few different games. And then there's the villain deck, which I love right now. Right now, I love the villain deck. That's your Marvel Champions living card games.
Right.
I don't like Marvel Champions because I don't like Marvel. I'm sorry, but Sentinels of the
that hurts my heart.
If it was DC,
we know you're a DC guy. Yeah.
But but also things villain deck. I think of things like Nemesis. So this is when I'm wanting like randomness. I want a little bit of randomness. It's still intelligent. And there's still strategy. If you're doing a living card game, you can kind of control their deck a little bit, maybe, or control yours to control theirs, or something like Nemesis, where you have that randomness, not a ton of intelligence, but there's enough, and that's thrilling. It's just a rush. I enjoy that. I can pull out a villain deck AI any day, And then the last one I was thinking of is investigative. I don't know what we call this. This is when you're playing Sherlock Holmes.
I'm glad you brought this up. Thank you.
Because I love these. I will pull these, or whatever Mother of Frankenstein is going to end up being. I'm not a fan of the Chronicles of Crime, but they, it does it. That's a type of AI. I don't know what on earth we're going to call it. That's another one. That villain deck, beat your own score, I'll pull out any day because I can handle it. Right. The others are special events, and I love them, but I got to be in a mode, and I'm going to be in that mode for about 6 months, and it's not right now.
Yeah. I love that you brought this up because that was when we were having our discussion. My response was, I do play solo. I said, I love my detective games. And he goes, well, those aren't board games.
I said, they don't count.
They don't count. And I was like, oh, so we're going to go there.
Game either.
Well, and I'm like, here's the thing. You have your exploration games. You've got your war games. Like, you've got all these different kinds of games. It's like, yes, it is more puzzly, but it is an experience.
I was just being an elitist.
He was, but it was all in good fun. But but it brought up a good point because I know that, people are particular about what qualifies as a board game and where's the line. But I totally think that we play board games for the experience, whether it's it does have a board, right? But yeah, I love like my, Hunt a Killer mysteries and
she's big into those.
Detective, like I loved, and
I think they qualify.
all those deduction games.
Killer mysteries.
I mean, if we're gonna call Blood on the Clock Tower a board game, it's social all the social deduction games that you play with a bunch of people.
Yeah, those don't
deduction games as a solo player. I
so
think
that's one other type of AI that's left, and I don't know where we qualify this. Black Sonata.
Oh,
hidden movement AI, because Black Sonata is one of my favorite solo games. It is a deck, so I guess it's one of those you flip the deck, you do what it says. So I guess that falls under that. But it includes a little hidden movement, a little bit of a twist there, but I guess that's still just the deck.
Mind management does a good solo like that with the hidden movement.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels different than like an AI-driven card deck, though.
It does.
Like it feels like its own thing. And it's great. It's really fun. It's on my current 10x5 solo challenge. So I'm playing
Black Sonata or Mind MGMT?
Black Sonata.
Never played that.
Yeah, you're right. Both of those.
Or mine.
It's its own little section.
Yeah.
I always see Mind MGMT at the store. Like I would see the box, and I'm always like,
played it and sold
this
it
looks
on.
interesting.
For solo, it was cool. Now, I mean, people love it. But I think is for solo, it is a different game. You play different. Maybe it's the same scenario, but you open different boxes and get different abilities. So you won't experience the full game if you play it solo. But it is nice if you love it multiplayer that you have that option. But buying it for solo only, and the art isn't my style. I'm not a fan of the graphic novel, all that. If you are, it's got to be the coolest thing though, because it's a really cool game.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's neat.
I enjoyed it too, and then I played Sniper Elite, and then I stole Mind Management and got Sniper Elite. Have you played that, Anthony?
No.
Oh, you would love it.
Is it good?
It's World War II. I mean, it's that video game, Sniper Elite.
Yeah.
I thought you did play it.
We didn't play it.
It's hidden.
I didn't play it.
Yeah, it's hidden.
I played the video game.
Yeah, it's hidden movement.
Okay.
It's really, really good. Yeah.
Interesting.
Huh.
All right. So, did you want to talk about some of our stuff?
Some of our stuff? What stuff that we're playing?
Our solo stuff. Yeah. Well, actually, let's go into. Yeah, we're running low on time, so let's go around and we'll talk about games we're playing.
Games we're playing. Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of what we've been playing since the last time.
Well, we're learning Coloma.
We're learning Coloma. It's currently under the table right now. You can't see it. Because there is an expansion coming out, I think the Kickstarter. So we're playing the game and reviewing the game, and then talking about the expansion. But it's pretty neat. It's like it's your pioneering theme, which is one of Anthony's favorite.
I do for whatever reason. I don't know why I get sucked into these pioneer.
Panning for gold.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that theme.
Climbing mountains.
It always pulls me in. But it's a
Pioneer one.
By,
Johnny Pack designed it, and
the Micho.
The Micho did the art for it.
The art's
considered a hidden gem.
She's not a fan of the Micho art.
I'm like, it's not my favorite. No, it's okay. It does the job.
It's hit or miss for me.
Right.
I think it's okay.
But the game looks cool. I mean, it's like it's a pioneering thing. It's like action selection. It's kind of open.
Yeah.
What is it called? Like open worldy, but it's open.
It's action selection.
It's all action selection.
You're building a tableau and stuff like that.
It looks cool.
It's neat. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It's doing that. I'm really excited. We're doing a this is unfortunately it's another Kickstarter, but the Kickstarter's over.
What's that one?
Botany.
Oh yeah, Botany.
I won't talk too much about it because we don't have a video out on it now, and I want you all going and looking and figuring out about it before we have a chance to talk to you about it. But it is like the most beautiful game I have seen already this year. It's like old Victorian art and like little pressed flowers.
It's an old Victorian game about flowers. Steve's just like,
I'm just like, you put them in little like vases and stuff. Oh my gosh!
Sorry, nothing will beat
so
Ethnos. I don't care how beautiful your game is.
So that was cool. We did play City of the Great Machine, which we've already kind of talked about a little bit here.
Yeah.
And it was a good experience. It was just, I think we tried to film it like 3 times. So I was a little kind of like, are we done filming this now?
I'm like, we have a whiteboard on the side.
We do.
That's what we're looking at, She keeps all of our.
I do.
Our cue.
I have in the mail, need to learn, ready to film, and then
there's a lot on this list.
A lot.
Let's just drop one more.
Okay.
What else are we learning?
We talked about 11 already, I think, but that soccer game.
Yeah, we keep talking about that. That's when we have to get to the table. We have something to get to the table, but all right, let's let somebody else jump in and talk. The problem is we're always, and it's like, okay, what new games are you playing? We're always playing the next game that we've been sent that has to get out because the Kickstarter campaign is coming up, and it's like, okay,
we're kind of at the end. We've been doing a lot more retail stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is still like publisher, like we're working with the publisher, and they're like, here's a game to play.
Yeah.
So like, okay, sounds good.
So we do it.
But yeah, let's
we'll go around.
Allie, what are you
playing?
Oh, well, I've been playing a lot of Boon-like. It's on my 10x5 solo challenge.
Cool.
So I actually just finished up my 5th one for that one. So much fun. I really, really have been enjoying that. Played some little ones today, like I said, Grove and for Northwood. And then my youngest daughter, Emmy, has been in a mood to play lately. So we've been playing all kinds of kids games with her. We played Coconuts this weekend.
Oh, cool.
And a little one called Junk Jumble from Blue Orange Games. That's a fun one for kids. And then I got to do an early play test on Tabletopia with Mahir Shah for his new upcoming game that he just signed called Roz, The Dance of Love, I think is what it's called. And it was really good. Very, very fun. It's kind of like an abstract strategy game, but not. It's like very tactical. It's dice drafting. And it plays over 3 rounds. You draft 3 dice in each round. So you basically have 9 turns. And you're filling in your little player board and trying to match up colors. And really fun. That's one to keep an eye out for when that comes out.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm another fan of For Northwood. We never played that.
It does look cute. Yeah, I remember when it was on Kickstarter.
It's really fun. Like if you like solo games and you like trick taking, I would definitely check it out. I don't know if it's at retail yet. I think there's people who have been waiting for it and it wasn't quite out yet because I backed it on the Kickstarter, so I've had it for a little while. And yeah, it plays in about 30 minutes because you're actually playing out 8 different hands of trick taking. You have 8 cards in each one, and you're trying to meet a specific target for whichever of the spaces that you went to. So it's anywhere from 0 to 7, and you have different cards that you can play and utilize to either draw more cards into your hand or get rid of cards from your hand, or like look at what's at the top. There's all kinds of different things that they do. And then it has a bunch of like a mini campaign book in there too, which I haven't even touched yet. I've just been playing the base game.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's neat.
All right. So let's go to Mike and we'll finish with a breath of fresh air.
Okay. Yeah, so July, the theme for my channel is a Jedi walks into a game store. So I wanted to cover all the solo Star Wars games.
Nice.
Excellent.
So, and I can't cover them all, but I want to cover some. I know Star Wars Rebellion has a fan-based mode. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that in time, but I would love to. But so I've obviously I've done the Pandemic Star Wars game, so that'll be featured. But I've been playing Imperial Assault, so I learned that. playing against just the solo game. I haven't done any of the other modes, but playing with the app for Imperial Assault. And it reminds me a lot of Lord of the Rings Journeys of Middle Earth. Just the app isn't near as good. But it's dice driven. You're using dice in Imperial Assault as opposed to Journeys in Middle Earth, where you can kind of control your deck a little more.
What it is actually they made that app after they created the one for Descent 2nd Edition. So it's it's really tacked together because there was no AI originally. So they created one for Descent, and then they made this. They followed suit with that Imperial Assault, and I didn't like it one bit. So I didn't play it. I really wanted it to be good, but it's, like you said, there's too many decisions you have to make that you don't want to have to make.
Yes, so that's the only thing I'll have to comment when I play. I'll have to play a little more of it. I do really like it, but they call it the Imperial action or whatever, where you have to move them. The app doesn't move your character, which if you have an app, they need to move the character and keep track. The app doesn't do that, so it gives you a system of priorities, and it's a little. So basically, I don't think for the AI. I just am like, congratulations, you like going right, and you like just because and maybe it's because I just have to play through enough games that I can't spend enough time to do that. But they
fixed that system in Descent, the latest Descent. It keeps track of that stuff, and you don't have to really think about it at all.
That's good to know, because that's the only thing that stood out. I'm like, it seems like great, but they like stopped short or something. So Imperial Assault, and then I have on the table, I have Outer Rim. So I have read through the rule book, and I've read through the solo, and it looks like, so I haven't played it yet, but it looks like Firefly basically. And it doesn't look like the theme matters terribly much. The theme is cool. Again, I haven't played it yet, but just going through like a demo of different moves and things like that, I'm looking forward to it. You know, pick up and deliver, complete objectives.
It's one of our favorites.
So it is okay.
You're right.
Sure yet.
You're right on with it being. Firefly, it's a lighter version of Firefly.
Okay, because I liked Firefly, but I sold it on because playing it solo, I was like, too much for me. I could see multiple.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Firefly is a long game. There's a lot going on. It takes you a while to get to a point where you can actually beat the game, where Outer Rim doesn't take as long to ramp up.
It looks like I might actually be able to do that in one sitting, which is pretty remarkable. And I don't have the expansion yet, so I wanted to do the base game first and get to know it. And again, if I have enough time before July, then I'll add the expansion to it, because I hear really good things about it. But that's
Ken even says it's a must.
It solves the problem with it, because it's a horseshoe.
Yeah.
And if you're on one end of the horseshoe and you have to get to the other end of the horseshoe, it could take you like 3 turns to get there, versus the expansion adds a way to jump.
Unless you're me and you make really fast ships every game.
Okay, so that's good to know, because I was like, okay, so this is Firefly. I've already played it. Is it going to be any different?
It's different enough, I think. You know, and Fire. Yeah, I like it better than Firefly, because and I love Firefly. I just like this better.
Yeah. Cool. That's it.
Nice.
That's exciting. You got some good stuff.
This is exciting. I played a classic Euro. Okay, so there's a huge gap in my learning, because a lot of them don't come with solo, and I came in during the pandemic, so I'm like solo.
Right.
But I like multiplayer sometimes too, so I got to play Hallertoe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Rosenberg, right?
That was so fun. I will play that again any day. I have no idea about solo. I played it multiplayer anyway.
Okay.
Maybe it's two-handed multiplayer.
We don't have that one.
Yeah, we don't have that one.
We're just trying to get back into Uwe's games.
Yeah.
It's been a hiatus for a little while.
All right,
Garrett, take it home.
Well, I'm not going to be doing. What'd you call that, Allie? The Dance of Love or something game?
Yeah, it's called RAAS, RAAS.
Okay. Well, the dance I'll be doing is with British Spitfires and Nazi Messerschmitts. But I finally got this in the mail.
So this is the game I was talking about, Gary, and you were like, I don't know what. I was talking about a war game with British airplanes.
Yeah,
World War II.
I read the rules. This is different than the like Normandy, obviously, and North America.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it looks so and it's got these scenarios. Yeah, I'm really pumped about this.
I picked this one up at our game store. They had it.
Oh, they did? Oh.
Yeah, and then I put it right back down.
You got to go back.
But because it's only 2-player, like there's no solo.
Somebody has already made a fan-made solo version.
I don't play fan-made solo version.
I don't either until I played like 51st State and realized their fan version was way better than the. But no, it does. It looks really, really good. I know with other war games with the airplanes and stuff, you're dealing with altitudes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's neat.
This just doesn't. This gets rid of all of that, but you're still. It looks like the game probably plays still pretty fast. 45 minutes.
It piques my interest for sure.
Yeah, so, I'm really pumped about this one.
I want to hear how you feel about that.
All right, I will do.
Are you gonna play it solo?
You know what? I don't have anybody yet to play 2-player yet, but I will try that solo. I've read the rules. This weekend, well, it's a holiday weekend coming up, so I'm gonna head over to Julie's. I'm gonna see some of her family and play some Ready, Set,
break out
Bet.
Undaunted.
Yeah, and hey, everybody, would you all like to play this? No.
A resounding no.
No, let's play just one, and we're gonna play some Ready, Set, Bet. So that'll be fun.
You love that game, yeah.
Oh yeah. But she does have a cousin and an uncle, and I think I could probably get one of them to play it with me this weekend too. So we'll try it. So,
cool.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah,
that's cool. So I have one game I'm waiting on this week. It's coming out. Yeah, are you done, Gary? Is that it?
Yeah. I'm done.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was it. I thought you only had one.
Fine. You want to hear the rest of my games?
Yeah, let's hear it all.
Fine,
no, there's
out.
Yeah. There's one game coming out this week on the 30th that I've been waiting for, and it needs to be good.
Oh, okay.
Or I'm going to be very upset. I have my game store holding it for me when it comes in. And the game, I've talked about it before. It's called Marvel Dagger.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Is this an RPG?
It is a retheming of Eldritch Horror.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You see that response from Gary?
Well, this is also part of our argument because he's like, well, I guess you're just going to hate Marvel Dagger then.
Yeah, see? Because there's AI going on. And because it is, even when you play, like Eldritch Horror, you've got to manage the whole, like, evil phase when Cthulhu does their thing. It's like, okay, advance this thing, move these guys out here, spawn this dude here, this guy attacks here. Like, there's all these steps you have to manage before you get back to your turn again. And there's like a doom track, and when the doom's here, you got to do this now, draw from this deck. I guarantee there's a lot of that in this too.
Yeah,
but it's Marvel.
That was okay. So Eldritch Horror has a little bit of, I'm not the biggest Cthulhu fan, but that place has. Oh, that game has a little bit of place in my heart because that was the very first game I ever played at Gen Con. Had no idea. It was like 20, whenever that game came out, 2014, 15, something
it was probably like 10 years ago. Maybe
it was at least, maybe 2013. And some people go, hey, you want to play? We need a fourth. Fine. I had no idea what I was doing. It's the biggest game I'd played at that time and loved it. And ever since I've seen this, I'm like, oh yeah, now I see a few pictures here online, like, oh yeah, this looks awesome.
Yeah,
I'll play it with you.
All right, look, you got to get out here.
I still want to play it. I don't even get a chance.
You're out, Francis. You're out.
It's not DC,
AI hate.
Mike, you hate Marvel.
We need a guys party. No, I will do this one though.
You will do it. It looks good. I'll definitely report back on how we feel, but we are definitely going to play it when it comes because I really, really enjoyed Eldritch Horror. Except for the fact, I don't think I've ever played it to the end because after about 2.5 hours of it, you're like, either you're at that point, you're like, all right, we lost this game. You know what I mean? Because you get to a point where the doom track is too high. You can barely manage the portals and everything coming in, and you're just like, we're not going to finish this game. So you kind of call it at that point. But I play those for the enjoyment of the story going out, right? Yeah. So I'm hoping this one is as rich, but not as long in the tooth.
Playing time is 180 minutes, so there you go.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
It's pretty long tooth.
That is long in the tooth. That's real long. But here's the thing: like you, Garrett, I do not like Cthulhu theme. at all anymore. I'm so over it. Like I just can't do the. I can't do that. It's just played. I guess because the IP is free, anybody can take it.
Yeah,
I think there were like a couple years where it was just all Cthulhu.
All Cthulhu.
Like, everything was
all
Cthulhu.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
And like Fantasy Flight went to town with it. Like they were like, all right, we're gonna have like 3 or 4 different lines of it. And I'm like, all right, come on, man. Like, let's move on.
The only one I'll play is Death May Die, which is completely different, but it's hilarious and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it could be a non-gamer and we teach you how to play that one.
Death May Die. Oh, Cthulhu Death May Die?
Cthulhu Death May Die.
So there you go, Garrett. It was 2013.
I was going to say, it probably was like one of my
10
first
years ago.
cons. Hey, it might have been Randall. Did I sit at your table? Maybe it was you and me.
Yeah.
Hey again. It's good to see you.
Yeah. But it was, I think I actually traded mine away, my Eldritch Horror. Even though I really enjoyed it, I thought it was a really good game. So when I heard that this was a retheming of it in Marvel, which I enjoy, because I'm big into Champions. Like and now that they've been though. It's good. Yeah, Champions is really good. Marvel now that they're coming out with all the new characters, they have a lot of X-Men characters. I think they're even coming out with like Deadpool at some point.
And we talked about Marvel Champions too in our discussion because we were talking about you used to manage them too. Like you have to manage the bad guys.
That's the villain deck.
But you're managing the villains, but you're like doing it almost like the stuff that you're doing mitigates what they're doing in time. Like it's not this programmed
story.
It is exactly, yes, very much so. So I think that adds to it. And I love that.
And it's pick a card. You know what I mean? You're drawing a card from the villain deck, and you just play it out, and it's easy. It's to me, Champions is a better version of Sentinels of the Multiverse. If you ever played that one,
I like Sentinels of the Multiverse more.
Really? I just think
have that conversation another day.
You need to hire a bookkeeping company to play that game with all the
played it once. I won. I'll never play it again. I'm going out on top on that one.
But keep in mind, I love either fields too, so I'm on those divisive games.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm usually on the wrong side.
Yeah. The minute they made Sentinels of the Multiverse a full game app on the iStore on iTunes, like once I picked that up, I was like, I traded off all of mine.
It is
it's bookkeeping madness. It's like there's +1 here, -1 here, +3 here, and you're doing all this math, and you're like, oh man, do I actually take damage this round? I don't know, I can't tell.
For some reason, I love it. I love it, but it's a lot of bookkeeping.
It's a lot of bookkeeping. It's too much for me.
There's one other one I remembered we picked up, and that was we did get the Beyond the Sun expansion.
We
finally picked it up.
We
haven't played it yet, but it looks.
Does that have a solo?
Good. I think the expansion adds a solo, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Because it comes with cards.
Yeah.
That is.
Which is cool.
Have you played that, Allie? Beyond the Sun?
No.
Are you looking to?
I would play it. It's not one that's like on my wish list or.
Yeah, it wasn't on mine either because it looked kind of honestly like it looked dry. I was like, well, this looks kind of like. I don't know how it's going to be.
I thought so too. Yeah, it looked really dry.
But it's a tech tree. Basically, the whole game is tech tree. But
it's good.
It's so good.
It's good.
Yeah, it is really, really a good game.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got the expansion. I'm excited about it.
Very excited.
We've been waiting forever.
I think that one's on Board Game Arena also.
Oh, is it? Okay, we should play sometime for sure.
I think so.
That's a good one.
Definitely play that one because it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
All right, we are definitely long today.
You're long in the tooth.
Yeah, we were. I think I am long in the tooth today, right? So, all right. Thank you, everyone. I think we had a great show. A lot of good stuff to talk about. We'll be back in 2 weeks
with a new topic.
With a new topic,
we decided based on another disagreement.
We've got some new new guests. Hosts joining us. There's been some interest. We've been reached out to. We'll keep that a secret until they join us. But we've got a couple of folks, a couple of other content creators who've never been on our channel before.
Yeah,
who've reached out and wanted to join our little stream here. So that'll be very exciting when they can make it. So
very cool. So let us know in the comments below. We're talking about solo. Let us know if you have what you're playing, what you enjoy, what you like your AI to do, what kind of style you're into, and if we missed anything that maybe you've got feedback on. Drop it in the
and any other suggestions for topics, or else we're just going to keep doing what Francis and Anthony are arguing about each week. So
involve us in your marriage squabble.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Hold into your marriage squabble.
Who else's marriage squabbles are about board games?
Yeah, for real. That's a good squabble to have.
I hate AI.
Yeah, I was like, can't believe that's what you think.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, folks. Thanks again. Wonderful show. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.
We'll see you.
Have a good one.
Bye.